The Indus Valley Civilization. The Indus Valley Civilization is a highly advanced urban civilization which flourished in India about 4,500 years ago. The ancient ruins of Harappa were discovered by Dayaram Sahni in 1921, and the ruins of Mohenjo-daro were discovered by Rakhaldas Banerjee in 1922. Both were officers of the Archaeological Survey of India. Initially, it was believed that the history of India began with the coming of the Aryans, but the excavation of these ruins brought forward the highly planned cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. The Indus Valley Civilization belonged to the Bronze Age. It flourished between 2500 BCE and 1500 BCE. The discovery of Indus Valley seals and pottery are among the ruins of the ancient Sumerian cities, which shows that India had a strong trade link with the Mesopotamian civilization. Mohenjo-daro means Mount of the Dead, and it was located on the banks of the river Indus in the Larkana district of Sindh, which is now in Pakistan, while Harappa is situated on the banks of the river Ravi in the Montgomery district of western Punjab, which is also now in Pakistan. Initially, it was believed that this civilization was only confined to the valleys of the Indus and its tributaries, but later excavations gave strong proof that this civilization extended far beyond the Indus Valley to many parts of the northern and western India. Around 2,800 sites have been discovered, which makes the Indus Valley civilization one of the largest civilizations of the ancient world. This civilization is known as the Indus Valley Civilization because the main cities of this civilization were discovered around the river Indus and its tributaries. It is also known as the Harappan Civilization because Harappa was the first site to be unearthed, and the features of the other sites resemble those of Harappa. Some major sites of the Indus Valley Civilization are Lothal, Surkotada in Gujarat, Ropar in Punjab, Kalibangan in Rajasthan, Alamgirpur in Uttar Pradesh, and Banawali, Haryana. The two newest sites are Rakhi Gari in Haryana and Dholavira in Gujarat. The Indus Valley Civilization included highly civilized people who lived in this region and gave the world its earliest cities. The Indus Valley Civilization is a fine example of its first town planning, architecture in stone and clay, and is an example of sanitary engineering with a well-planned drainage system. The Indus Valley cities were very well planned and followed a grid system, where the main streets ran parallel to each other and were cut at right angles by the smaller street. This divided the city into rectangular blocks or grid. The main roads were straight and very wide, that is around 30 feet, and curved at the corners, which allowed cars to pass easily. These streets were paved with baked brick. The architecture of the Indus Valley Civilization included two types of buildings, like the dwelling houses and the public buildings. The dwelling houses were double-storied and they had flat roofs. They were built along the sides of the streets and were constructed in different sizes. Some were like palaces, while others had only two small rooms, which were made of baked brick. An average house had a courtyard which was surrounded by rooms, a bathroom, a kitchen, and a well, while a narrow staircase led to the room upstairs. The Great Granary at Harappa is one of the largest buildings of the Harappan civilization. This building was used to store surplus food grains. There were 2 rows of granaries. Each row had 6 granaries. A similar granary has been found in Mohenjo-daro. These granaries were built close to the river so that the grains could be easily transported through both. In the Great Granary in Harappa, a circular brick platform has been found, which was probably used for threshing grain. A large number of furnaces have been found, which were used by the metal workers for producing a variety of metal objects. Another remarkable building of the Indus Valley Civilization was the Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro. This building resembled a large swimming pool, and it had 6 entrances, a central bathing pool, galleries, and dressing rooms. 2 flights of steps were used to reach the bottom of the pool. The floor and walls of the pool were made of burnt clay bricks and were made watertight with a lining of bitumen. Fresh water was introduced into the great bath from an adjacent well, while the used water was drained out through an outlet in one corner. Most probably, the great bath was used during religious ceremonies. Another striking building was the assembly hall, which was found in Mohenjo-daro. It was a pillared hall with thick walls and 20 pillars made of burnt or baked brick. This must have been an assembly hall, a prayer hall, or a palace. The Indus Valley Civilization had a very well planned and excellent drainage system. The kitchen and bathrooms had sloping floors and drains which were connected to the street drains, which ran along the sides of the streets and were usually covered. There were manholes at regular intervals for inspection and cleaning. The drainage system proves that the Indus Valley Civilization paid a lot of attention to sanitation and cleanliness of the cities. The Harappan society comprised of several social groups like rulers, merchants, traders, artisans, farmers, and manual laborers. Wheat was a staple food of the Indus Valley Civilization, and farmers knew how to grow barley, mustard, fruits, vegetables, milk, meat, fish and eggs were also an important part of their diet. The dresses and ornaments of the Indus Valley Civilization, people wore cotton and woolen garments. Two-piece dresses were worn by both men and women. The men wore a dhoti while the women wore skirts, and the upper garment was a shawl worn around the shoulder. Both men and women loved to wear ornaments. They wore necklaces, amulets, and finger rings, while women also wore a headdress, earrings, bangles, girdles, bracelets, and anklets. The rich wore ornaments made of gold, silver, and ivory, while the poor wore shell, bone, and copper jewelry. The men kept beards and their hair was combed backwards. It was either cut short or coiled in a knot on top of the head. The women tied their hair tightly and used hairpins and combs to keep their hair in place. They also used cosmetics. The people of the Indus Valley Civilization preferred indoor games than outdoor activities. A lot of time was spent in dancing, singing, playing board games with dice, which was similar to the modern chess. The children played with various toys like wheel carts, dolls, animals with movable heads, sliding monkeys, rattles, and whistles. Most of the toys were made of baked clay or terracotta. Farming was the main occupation of the people of the Indus Valley. They were the first people in the world to cultivate cotton. Since the land surrounding the Indus Valley River was very fertile, the farmers grew enough surplus food to feed the people in towns and cities. The people domesticated animals like goats, sheep, buffaloes, elephants, and humped bulls, while dogs and cats were kept as pets. The Indus Valley people were excellent potters and skilled craftspeople. They made pottery of various shapes and sizes on the potter's wheel. These pots were generally glazed and painted. They made terracotta female figurines, which were probably symbolic of the mother goddess, and they also knew the art of using metal. A flourishing trade existed both within and outside India. The Indus Valley people traded with countries like Mesopotamia, that is Iraq, Persia, that is Iran, and Afghanistan. The Harappan seals were found in Mesopotamia, and Mesopotamian seals have been found in the Indus Valley cities, which prove that the two civilizations had an excellent trade relation. A variety of weights and measures were used, and trade was carried out by a barter system. The trade was carried on both by land and sea routes through bullock carts, boats, and ships, which were probably used for transport. A dockyard has been discovered at Lothal. The bronzesmiths were an important group of artisans in the Indus Valley Civilization, where bronze was made by mixing copper and tin. The Harappans got copper from Khetri mines in Rajasthan and from Baluchistan, while tin came from Afghanistan and Iran. The Harappans used bronze vessels, axes, saws, spears, and knives. They also made statues in bronze, like the statue of the dancing girl. More than 2,000 seals have been found in various sites. The seals are small, flat, rectangular, or square in shape and are made of clay, soapstone, and copper. They were skillfully carved with figures of humans and animals such as the unicorn, the goat, the elephant, the tiger, and the humped bull. These seals were probably used by merchants and traders to stamp goods. The seals are a valuable source of information about the life and culture of the people, as they tell us about their religious beliefs, trade contacts, artistic skills, dress, and ornaments. However, the script on the seals is yet to be deciphered. Once these scripts are deciphered, we will come to know about important facts about the Harappan life and culture. It has picture-like signs which probably represent words, objects, and ideas. No temples have been found in the Indus Valley Civilization. Numerous smoke-stained clay figures of a female deity have been found, which was probably Mother Goddess. A three-faced figure sitting in a yogic posture and surrounded by various animals is engraved on some seals. This figure is often referred to as Pashupati. The peepal tree was probably the most sacred and worshipped tree. The discovery of a large number of amulets suggests that people probably wore them as a lucky charm to ward off evil spirits. The Harappans also believed in life after death, and they buried their dead together with some items of food, utensils, and ornaments. Sometimes they cremated the dead and kept the ashes or bones in an urn along with items of daily use. Although the Indus Valley Civilization flourished for about 1,000 years, it came to an end. The various theories which explain its decline are natural calamities like earthquake, floods, or epidemic may have destroyed the city. An invasion by foreign tribes like the Aryans may have led to its destruction, or a change in the course of the river Indus may have made the land infertile. Although the Harappan cities are in ruins, but the cities are proof of our ancient and glorious past.